And I can't. It's just gonna drown me.
No. No, it won't.
How do you know?
Well, because it can't all be sorrow, can it? I've always been alone, so I don't feel the lack. It's all I've ever known. I've never experienced loss because I've never had a loved one to lose. But what is grief, if not love persevering?
Hey, I'm Derek,
And I'm Noah. You're listening to A Bite of.
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
And we're almost done taking a bite of WandaVision. Very sad. Bitter, 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 bitter. Kind of sweet.
Mostly bitter.
Mostly bitter.
Not us, the show itself. It's kind of not really been the sweetest this past couple of weeks.
This episode's going to get... It is a little heavy, and it was not our fault. It was the show's fault. So grab a cold brew, perk up a little bit, and we're going to try to make this as fun, but as insightful as possible.
Yes, get ready to go back to the past of these characters to see where they went, to see where they are. Right?
No.
Absolutely.
All
You have
right.
to look back to move forward.
All right. Let's... Oh, I hate that line. It's so creepy. So before we get into the episode, just as a friendly reminder, we got the Discord, we got merch, we got Patreon, we have so much stuff that we're doing outside of just this podcast. So go to our website, abiteofpod.com, and peruse our many other offerings that we have. Join our Discord. We have tons of people on there talking about all things, not even just WandaVision stuff. But if you want somebody to talk about WandaVision with, that's not just us. Go to there.
But we actually, other than our Discord, we want to know what you guys are thinking about all of this. We did a focus group a couple of weeks back, and people were like, at the end of each season of whatever show you're doing or property you're doing, what if we shared our thoughts? So we thought that was a great idea. So we want to do a wrap-up episode as the final episode of this season of A Bite of. So we want to hear your critiques about WandaVision, the theories, questions you might have going forward, or any other questions or things you wanted to talk about when it comes to pop culture. So look for calls to action on our social media platforms to share all those great views that you might have.
Yeah.
Those little tidbits.
Or you can just even email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. Send in your questions. Just title it Q&A, and we'll do those. They don't even have to just be about WandaVision. Like, you can submit as many that you want. They can be anything. So give us your questions. We need your questions to do this wrap-up episode.
We want to hear from you guys.
Right, exactly.
What do you think? Our little baby bubble here is only 2 people large.
All right. So before we get into the current episode, we also are going to take a step back and do a little recap of episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall, which was a huge episode as far as big reveal standards and story progression.
Yeah, I mean, the funnel of love truck.
That
hugely
you are so
important.
obsessed with that truck.
Hugely important to everything in the WandaVision universe.
I don't think so.
No, you're right. I would say our biggest things to come from episode 7 of WandaVision were that we saw Monica get her powers,
Right.
which is huge. We had the reveal of Agatha Harkness.
The reveal everybody saw coming, but
Yes.
still loved every second of it.
Heck yeah. We saw Senor Scratchy getting more time in the spotlight.
And we got Agatha all along.
That's right.
The bop that everybody across the world has been bopping to for the last week. And I have it on my phone. It's on Spotify.
I was just going to say, it's on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's official. It's official.
So those were the biggest things, really, from last week. So those are things to keep in mind. This week, unfortunately, we don't get to see Monica. It's a very self-contained episode.
Yeah, we really kind of keep it to a core few in this one.
Much
So-
needed, though.
Oh, absolutely. This was great. I liked this sort of, it felt like a cleansing of everything that we were going through. So, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Okay, we did our due diligence. With
I'm
the
sorry,
spoiler
what? What'd you say?
warning. Warning of the spoilers.
Oh, you can't change
Spoilery
it.
warning. Warning. of things that can be
They got
spoiled.
it. They got
you
it.
asked me. You asked me, so I thought I should make it in some other forms. That way, in case you didn't get it the first time. Anyway, let us take an official A Bite of WandaVision episode 8, previously on.
This is the penultimate episode of WandaVision, so there is no sitcom history that we get to do. There's no sitcom feel to this. This is in the present and real.
I feel personally attacked by WandaVision because I love doing my sitcom research for this, and they hated on it. But I will say the only thing that I can equate it to is some sort of turn of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is a lighthearted comedy, into The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was a dark dramedy on Netflix.
That's a stretch.
That's
but
what it feels like.
it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, hello, the first scene, we're at Salem in 1693.
Yeah, so this episode, we get a little bit of Agatha's backstory. We get to see where she came from, at least. And it opens up in Salem, Massachusetts, right in the middle of the witch trials in 1693. So, just like the comics, Agatha is old, like really old. But she
She's
still
like-
looks good.
Yeah, like she's got like some sort of incantation or something. Like she drank from something to make her look younger or something.
Or just stole the essence of all the witches that were trying to burn her at the stake.
Oopsies! I mean, that's the real first twist of this episode. You're like, oh no, she's being brought to the stake by some Puritans from the 1600s. And it's like, psych, actually, it's her coven.
So she's put at the stake and she's bound by some spectral bands. And I like how they're like, are you a witch? And she's like, yes.
Guys, it's Agatha. It's me, your sister.
Comes to find out that she's being held at trial because she's done the darkest magic. We don't really know what that is.
And she says, I did not break your rules. They simply bent to my power, which is like the number one thing a guilty person says.
Right, but like, okay,
No.
okay.
Don't defend it.
I'm not trying to be an Agatha apologist, but maybe. So in this, whenever she's held on trial and all the witches around her start blasting these like blue beams at her, which I kind of like because it was like the witch's form of burning because you see, you know, kind of embers and ash and it looks like she is burning. And she's saying, teach me how to use this. I feel like in a way, it's a little bit like Wanda. Like Agatha just happens to be a little more powerful and it all comes naturally to her. And she's drawn to that power. So it's like, it's not necessarily her fault. We don't know what she did in this darkest magic, but she does ask to be trained. Like, why don't you help me with this? It seems like it's like that magic where they don't want to touch it, but she's like, I need to because this is like, I can't stop doing it. So help me here.
No, it feels like a last ditch effort to not be burned at the stake. She even has a moment where they're like, she's like, you can teach me. And like, she kind of does like that, like side anger, like that side thing to the camera. To me, it feels like she's trying to just maybe not get burned at the stake. So she's willing to say anything to them for it to not happen.
Well, so I would believe that, but two other things happen, okay? When they all were beaming her with the blue stuff, and then her being Agatha and apparently being more powerful, her magic is purple. And all of a sudden the beams turn purple and she starts sucking the life out of these people, but she seems surprised when it happens. Like when she's looking at it, she's like, okay. Like, I don't think she knew she could do that. So it seems like this stuff is just happening. It's not, she's not actively doing it. It's just happening around her. You're giving me weird looks and I don't know why.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm just trying to place it. I don't know. Is she a victim or is she the one that's making it all happen or does she not have control over it? I don't know.
Oh, I don't think she's innocent. I just think that in the beginning, she probably did want help. So anyway, the head witch apparently is her mother. She's the only one that's not like crypt keepered.
Yeah.
She floats up into last-ditch effort to beam her, and a crown forms on her head, which is interesting. I don't know what that means, and I don't really remember her being in the comics at all. But Agatha being Agatha and seeing that she can suck the life out of people, she does it to her mother.
She walks up to Mommy's Crypt Keeper corpse, and she yanks that brooch right off of her.
I mean, that's how she got her brooch. She needed a souvenir from her
Yeah, it was all about the jewelry.
killings. I don't think she's innocent. I just think there's more to her. She does say a line. She's like, I can be good. And her mom's like, nah, you can't.
I don't know. What she's showing us so far in this series is that she's an evil, conniving, nosy neighbor who is willing to control everyone. It was Agatha all along. just to get more power or to learn how to use more power. Whatever it is, she's doing it for her own gain.
I'm just hoping that there is some part of her mentoring friendness that she is in the comics towards Wanda. So like that's what I'm holding out hope for.
Well, yeah, I would hope so too, because this is a very big turn from like the original design of Agatha and Wanda's life.
Mm-hmm.
This seems much, much different.
Next scene, we're brought to present and we pick up right where the last episode left off.
Back in the dungeon.
Right, the creepy, ooky spooky dungeon that they're in. And this is where we find out why Agatha's been doing this. We don't know everything, but the main gist of this conversation with Wanda and Agatha is she felt all the magic. She doesn't understand how Wanda's able to mind control hundreds of townspeople without really thinking about it. Such complex storylines. How she can change everything, all the costumes, everything. She doesn't know how she's doing it, and she wants to know because she's like on a quest for power.
Yeah, and something I think is interesting is that as she's going through all these different types of magic, she's like, I don't understand how you don't understand that this is what you've done. It's almost like Magic 101, right? She's like, Wanda, mind control, like transmutation, like
runes.
Don't you see the runes? Don't you know that you can't use your magic here because they're my runes?
It's simple.
It's so simple. She's like, this is basic magic 101, and you don't know any of it. So that's what I think is making it more complex for Agatha, is like she's seeing all this magic happen, but it seems that the person that's created it has no idea how she's done it.
Well, that's exactly it.
Right. And I kind of feel like she's like breaking it down for Wanda. She's like, okay, so mind control plus transmutation multiplied by magic on autopilot equals Westview, New Jersey.
Right.
It's like, this is what you did, but you have no idea that you did it.
And that's where this starts getting interesting, because there's this whole narrative and all these theories and how we've been talking about this is, did Wanda know what she was doing? Who was doing this? Was it Agatha? So now we know it was not Agatha.
Right.
Like whatever force, or we were thinking Mephisto behind all of this, it wasn't her and it wasn't Mephisto, at least from what we know for now. But now Wanda's narrative is more reliable because she has no idea what's happening.
No.
At all. In this scene, she does questions. She's like, where's Billy and Tommy? And so we now realize also Agatha's still holding them hostage. So they're not dead. But they're she didn't eat them.
They're
She's
somewhere.
not Pennywise.
No.
She's holding him hostage.
Can we also just take a moment of silence for Bird Kata?
Oh my God.
R.I.P. That guy got munched up by Senor Scratchy real quick. I did not appreciate the quick grab of the bird, and it went, meh, and Agatha did not care, and then she chucked it over to Senor Scratchy. R.I.P. Bird Kata. You did your thing.
This is the second season we've done with a bird being killed.
Oh my God, Pidge!
Technically, it was a cicada, but, still a bird.
It looked like a bird. It was like a half bird cicada.
So what Agatha decides to do is take Wanda on a sad trip down memory lane to piece together how Wanda did this. She's like, okay, you don't know how you did this, but something made you do this. I need to know what.
Yeah, she says something to her. She says, you'd rather fall apart than face your truth.
Well, okay, I don't need to be put on blast like that. It's fine. Like, leave Wanda alone.
This is also the ultimate therapy session.
It's like immersion therapy with bad motivations, but needed. It's
totally
so weird.
Yeah, you have to face what you've gone through in order to grow and move forward. But I'm forcing you to do it not so that you'll get better, but so I can know your secrets of magic.
And that's why I'm like, okay, maybe like it's like Agatha's inadvertently helping Wanda and also being a mentor, but for the wrong reasons, which isn't too far from the comics, to be fair. So,
I don't think she even realizes how she's helping her in a psychological way. She's just trying to lead her through this crap, almost in a torturous way.
Right.
She's like, look, you have to live all this painful crap you already did. We're just going to do it again. I'm going to make you relive some of the most horrible things that have ever happened in your life.
Right.
Love you, babes.
So she takes a part of her hair, casts the spell. The first one we go to is Sokovia. This is little baby Wanda, little baby Pietro, and her parents.
Oleg and Irina.
Yep. And so this is where things get a little retcon-y, but not by much. And I just wanted to point it out. So in Age of Ultron, when Pietro and Wanda are talking to Ultron and giving their backstory, they're like, they were eating dinner and a bomb, like a hole fell through the ground. The parents went in, blah, blah, blah. This changes it a little bit. but not by much. You still get the same story. So in this, we see that Wanda and her parents, they use these movie nights of American old TV shows to learn English. But now we're finding out that Wanda grew up on these.
Right.
And all of WandaVision has been based on all of these shows that they watched. Bewitched, Dick Van Dyke,
Brady Bunch.
Malcolm in the Middle,
Yep.
all of these. So it's really interesting that we're getting to see this. And we kind of theorized earlier that this is why she would have done this.
The second he opened that suitcase with the DVDs in it, it like knocked me in the heart. And I loved it because I think that was always a big question of like, oh, this is so much fun. This is so cool that they're doing this, but why are they, why? And it's like, there's your answer.
Right.
This is what has been embedded in her as a child. This was her escape from the war-torn country she lived in. This is the way that they learned English together as a family. These are some of the best memories she's ever had when her family was whole and when she was happy.
Right before literally her life blew up.
Yeah.
Like that was the last thing.
That was really rude. No,
I'm sorry. Was that too far? Oh, well.
Oh my God. Wanda's writing an email right now.
They sit down to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it's season 2, episode 21. It's one of Wanda's favorites. I did think it was interesting that the whole thing at the end of that episode, you find out it's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, this isn't that. It's more she created the dream.
I also like that in this, when they're sitting down to watch this together, they have a conversation about the word shenanigans and what shenanigans means. And it sort of boils down to them. They say, shenanigans is silly mischief that always becomes fun. And so I think that's what Wanda was trying to create throughout WandaVision.
Even
Just
unintentionally.
silly sitcom shenanigans that always become fun. Because that's what a sitcom is.
Right.
And that is the world that she needed to create for herself, whether it was actually dealing with her trauma or just pushing her trauma aside. That is what she needed.
Right. And out of nowhere, first bomb goes off, which was, jumped, jolted, thrown back. Like, I did not expect that. Because you see briefly the kids kind of get thrown forward.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this episode's going to suck.
Oh, yeah. They totally lured us in with that a little effect of like lowering the sort of sound of all the voices, but then bringing up the emotional music. It was a little bit in slow motion. Her darling little child face is watching, and then wha-bam!
Yeah. Yeah, not great.
Not cool, guys.
So the other bomb does fall in, doesn't go off, which we know. And this is the Stark missile that pretty much the catalyst for their story on why they joined Hydra and tried to change the world and hate Tony Stark. But we find out, I don't know how much we can trust it, but it seems very probable. Pietro and her were under the bed. The bomb never goes off. And when Agatha pulls Wanda back and starts talking to her, she's like, so you did a probability hex.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't the bomb go off? Like, why would that one bomb be defective? Doesn't make sense because it was beeping.
Oh my God, it was so shiny and new, too. It was like the cleanest missile I've ever seen in my life with the most beautiful Stark print right on the side of it. And you pointed out something while we were watching the episode, that the beeping of the missile is the beeping of the toaster from the first commercial of the first episode of WandaVision.
Red light and all. I'm glad that far-fetched theory was spot on.
You nailed it. Good job, kid.
Thank you. So they do have a conversation, Agatha and Wanda, and she's pretty much telling her, she's like, what I see here is a baby witch obsessed with sitcoms and years of therapy ahead of her. But it doesn't explain what's happening in Westview now, which is true. Agatha sees her as a witch already when she's a kid.
Right. She can see that in that little girl in that memory. Now it's time for them to move on to the next memory. And Wanda's like, I don't want to do this. And Agatha goes, I know you don't, Angel, but it's good medicine. I love that Agatha still sort of has those little quips that like a nosy neighbor would have. Like she calls her toots in the beginning. She's calling her like little angel now. Like it's weird. The back and forth of this Agatha character. It's taunting, but it's sweet, but it's nasty.
I mean, Catherine Hahn was able to make like an intimidating character, but funny at the same time. She's just so engrossing. She's so believable in this role. She was believable as Agnes, as the character she was, but now that she's fully able to be the character that she is, I mean, I believe it. I am sold on Agatha Harkness.
I mean, Catherine Hahn can make sensible slacks and a button-up purple shirt with a sweater look damn intimidating. That is for sure.
So up next, Wanda heads to Hydra.
Yeah.
The Hydra facility in Sokovia where we first met Wanda and Pietro in Age of Ultron. So this was allegedly the place where the siblings acquired their superpowers before Byron Strucker exposed them to the energy of Loki's scepter. Yet, as WandaVision now re-explains, it turns out that the scepter only enhanced Wanda's existing powers.
Yeah.
So we see Wanda approach the scepter, and apparently every test subject prior to them has just died.
Dead. Yep. They done got exploded by the scepter.
Which the Hydra guy has a hot mic on, and he was like, every person has died, and he's like, shut up, man. God.
Don't tell them they're going to die. You don't want them thinking that. But let's see what happens.
Right. So Wanda approaches the scepter. The blue casing of the Mind Stone pops out, floats towards her, which I guess that's like that's so weird. I don't know if that's all in her head or if that's actually happening. Because what we see from what the Hydra people see, they see nothing. Like she kind of walks into the room, puts her hand up, and then she's
on the
floor. So, but in what Wanda's seeing, the stone floats up to her, the blue casing pops off. We see the infamous Mind Stone, and then it reveals to her the Scarlet Witch.
A vision of the Scarlet Witch.
God. But like in full costume.
Yeah.
Headdress and all.
Horns and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time we've ever seen the Scarlet Witch, which also, okay, Wanda, you saw it from the beginning. You could have just said something.
This is quote unquote a Sokovian fortune teller, but it's actually a vision I had when I was in a Hydra jail of some sort.
But that would explain why she had that costume, because she already saw it. So I did like that little detail.
Yeah, she had a vision.
Oh my God. We get it. WandaVision.
When you have a vision of something, it's when you see something from the future. Anyway, so I also kind of like this little nod to what the two Hydra guys are looking at on the screen. Almost feels like an edited version of what really happened. Because we see this sort of like editing power that whether it's the Mind Stone that lives within Wanda or Wanda herself, when she was broadcasting things, there were certain things that the powers wanted the outside world to see and some things that it didn't. So it would sort of like edit it. It would be like a blip on the screen where that traumatic part of her confronting Monica and throwing her out was gone. This is like the first time we see this happen in Wanda's life.
So after she gets the vision of Scarlet Witch, the scientists return her to her isolated cell, which there's literally nothing on it except for a like stainless steel tiny little table.
And reruns of the Brady Bunch.
Okay, so this is where it's interesting. One, why would they give her the Brady Bunch? Like, that's such a weird... Like, I couldn't see, like, Nazi, terrible, genocidal Hydra people running the Brady Bunch for their cell, like, their prisoners.
Thank you for being a captive in our chair. What would you like to watch? The Brady Bunch? That was more like Swedish or something. I don't know.
But, like, what if it was her projecting it?
Yeah.
Like, her powers are now kind of awakened. So what if it, like, I don't know if she knew she was doing this, but I could only see them playing, like, propaganda. Not the Brady Bunch.
She has her own WandaVision streaming service in her head where she can access all of her favorite sitcoms of America's past. Today we're watching Cindy and the Brady Bunch.
But one thing to point out with the Brady Bunch little thing, and this is something that I had pointed out in the third episode of WandaVision, their Brady Bunch episode, when Vision was practicing on this little pigtailed red dress doll, I was like, that's from the Brady Bunch, that exact one. Mm-hmm. The episode she was watching literally had that exact scene that was in my head with her holding the red doll with the pigtails.
Yep.
So I thought that was a really cool, like, oh, that's why Vision had that. That's why that doll was there. That's why they pointed it out. So this memory ends with Agatha saying, little orphan Wanda got up close and personal with an Infinity Stone that amplified what otherwise would have died on the vine. We're now realizing Wanda had these powers all along.
Right.
The Mind Stone just unlocked it.
Right.
Like amplified it, unlocked it, whatever you want to say. So how does that translate to Pietro? Like if she's a witch, quote unquote witch, why would he just have super speed?
Well, if you think about it,
unless they're mutants.
Well, they could be. I mean, it seems that there's some sort of dormant seed lying within them, and the Mind Stone helped it grow. Not that this is much, but after the explosion in the apartment, the person that pulls her to safety is Pietro. He pulls her as a child underneath the bed.
Right.
So he has maybe a bravery dream, a bravery gene, a speed gene, something that can help him be a hero, and then the Mind Stone helped unlock that.
There has to be other people out there with dormant powers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mind Stone just unlocks it. So, like, if they wanted to introduce mutants or Inhumans or people, just other characters in general, that would be a way to do it.
Sure.
Like, that it just unlocks something dormant or amplifies it. So I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to like theorize here and put it all together.
I mean, I'd rather have hex magic and speed than, back hair growth, as a superpower.
That's weird. Does somebody have that?
Me, probably.
You currently have that one.
Yes, but it would be amplified by the Mind Stone. Delightful. I'd be Beast. I'd be reading books hairily.
All right, so before we move on to the next couple ones, there is no commercial in this episode for WandaVision, but we got our own little commercial, so enjoy that.
Tired of rewatching those old 90s sitcoms?
Is that earworm of a theme song still stuck in your brain?
How about trying something new?
Why not listen to and support the A Bite of Patreon?
Like Brandon, who abandoned the boredom of reruns.
Find out how to be on brand like Brandon by going to abiteofpod.com. All right, welcome back from that commercial. And now we're in the end game of this episode.
Cha.
The next memory we go to, I equate it to Wanda falling in love with Vision.
Mm-hmm.
Following Pietro's death in Age of Ultron, Wanda goes back to the Avengers compound, and Agatha takes her to this moment. So it's fresh off of when Pietro died. She's at the compound that she kind of gets held at during Civil War. They notice on the TV that Malcolm in the Middle is playing. So that gives us another reference to the episodes that were going on in her head. So even still now to this day, like, those sitcoms are something that she still watches.
They comfort her.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's in this, like, such deep grief all around. She just lost her brother, and it's like, that's, like, this is her way of dealing with it.
Absolutely. And if in life, if you're feeling down, you don't want to watch something that will kind of exacerbate that feeling. You want to watch something that'll help you escape from it. So these things where nothing is ever too serious, when an anvil falls on the head of the coyote, he gets back up.
Right. This particular memory is something that this show needed. This whole episode is something this show needed. The superhero genre needs this episode because to see how much of the grief and where it started for Wanda not being dealt with and what she was feeling. Because if you think about it, nobody was really ever there for her. She came into the team fresh off of like a tragedy. Mm-hmm. Then the team, the Avengers, were dealing with all of this other stuff. Then like Infinity War happened. So it was like I wouldn't say she never got fully integrated into the family, but it was more of like, there's just so much going on that she wasn't as close as the original Avengers. Plus she lost everybody. So thankfully Vision was there. Vision was there with her, and he comes into the room, and you can see from her like cold response to him that they're not like in a relationship yet. So this is in the very early stages.
One of the things that I love about their relationship is because, she's in a sense like she can sense things. So she always knows when he's lurking outside of her room.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like she's always like, just come in.
Yeah.
Just, I know you're there. Come in. And what's interesting about that is that he's a robot, right? He's sort of learning what it means to be human. And he's lurking outside her room because he wants to see if she's okay.
You could see there was a connection between Wanda and him. Even when he first was made, he looks at Wanda first. Mm-hmm. They both got their powers
from the Mind Stone.
Yeah. So it's like there are some connection there. So I did like that you saw, even when she was alone in her room dealing with all that stuff, Vision was still kind of, how do I help? What do I do? And she realized, so he comes into the room and she realizes that he's just trying to help, and she ends up opening up to him. He somehow is able to string together probably the best response that you can say to somebody going through stuff like this. And he says, "It can't all be sorrow, can it? I've always been alone, so I don't feel the lack. It's all I've ever known. I've never experienced loss because I have never had loved ones to lose. But what is grief if not love persevering?" Oh, my God. She explains to him that, like, you know, it's like a wave. It's constantly like, I feel like it's going to drown me.
Yeah, it keeps knocking me down.
Yeah, it's like that, like right there, like hearing her say that and then his response to that, I was just like, fuck, God. Like, it's so like, it's painting a perfect picture of grief and depression, especially losing somebody, because that's what you feel like. And I feel like so many times, like, the way they portray people dealing with grief or depression is them just going crazy, or them just falling into a hole and never getting out. You know, it's never a good picture of them. But for her to see that somebody's trying to help, him saying the right things, and then that's what ultimately brought them together. I mean, it's great. The writers on the show did such a fantastic job with this scene.
I think not only in dealing with grief, but also their relationship, this shows a bit of a foundation. That was something that I was personally always missing. We only saw them, you know, we see him look at her, and then in the movies, we see them bond while he's kind of keeping her captive in a sense in that apartment.
Yeah, we never got that initial like love story. It was just kind of like they were in the same area, and then they were in love.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it was nice to have this moment of like, okay, so there were times when they were able to connect on a more human, I mean, I use that term loosely.
Hey, he's a synthezoid. Like,
well, you know what? You're right. Because one thing that I love about Vision is that even though he's not really naked because his body is whatever, he's going to wear a beautiful wool sweater and some slacks. All right. I'm not just walking around in my superhero garb with my cape. I don't think I'm that special. I want to look like you guys. My face is red, but look at this sweater.
He delivers like one of the like most genuinely touching lines that out of the whole MCU. For a synthezoid robot to be able to process and understand what she's going through and then deliver that line, he's probably the most human character in the entire MCU.
Oh, absolutely. Cap.
Yeah.
Tony.
Hey, leave that. Hey, Tony, leave them alone. They're great characters.
I mean, when he says that, but what is grief if not love persevering, my heart melted. So I can only imagine Wanda.
So present Wanda and Agatha are watching it all go down, which, I mean, just to be in Wanda's shoes during that was a cool moment to see. Real Vision, and this is like where their relationship is developing, but it must be so hard. She just saw her parents die again. She's experiencing what she looked like and felt like after her brother died. She saw the wrong path she went down with Hydra, and it's like, geez, stop.
This is the one bright moment. I would say of all of the memories we go through, this is the one that is a little light of showing the love that she felt in her life. Someone that made her feel good again.
Yeah, but then Agatha opens her mouth. She's like, so to recap, parents dead, brother dead, Vision dead. What happened when he wasn't there to pull you back from the darkness, Wanda? Because she's still not getting her what unlocked the power, how she's doing this.
Agatha, why do you have to be such a salty bitch? It's called rudeness.
Agatha has no chill, which we already knew because she killed Sparky. So
she's totally a kick you while you're down type of person.
Right. She continues to push Wanda. The next memory we go to, and the final memory, Agatha and Wanda arrive at Sword and watch past Wanda as she hopes to reclaim Vision's corpse following the death at the hands of Thanos. Again, these people that work at the Sword desk apparently do not like people coming in that have business there and have a reason to be there. Yeah. They won't buzz them in.
No, they they really need some good customer service training over there at Sword headquarters. Mm-hmm. They're like, look at all of our big TVs, look at this, look at that, but we don't care.
Also, there's nothing in your lobby. It's a big white long lobby with a bunch of windows. There's nothing in there.
I'll tell you what there is. Lots of people walking around all the time.
Where are they going?
Where are they going? Clacking all around like they got business or something.
Bunch of clipboards.
Oh my God, they're not even in. You got to get buzzed to get to the important stuff. Who the hell are you? I don't trust any of them.
How many doors are there?
There's just that one door. There's just one door that leads to the important stuff right from the lobby. Don't you worry. But everything else is just open air market.
So now we're getting a firsthand account of back in the 5th episode, I believe, Hayward showed the Sword team, our favorite chaotic trio, the footage, quote unquote, of Wanda breaking in to steal Vision's body. So after Wanda's held up at the desk. Hayward allows her to come in to talk to her about, pretty much what's going on. All she wants to do is just bury Vision's body. Mm-hmm. She says he deserves that. I deserve that. Like, I'm the next of kin. Like, what is happening here? Why can I not get Vision's body? We see her, and everybody else that knows Vision would see him as a person, not as property.
Right.
What does Hayward see him as? Like a $3 billion gold mine.
Well, that's what's so interesting. If you look at the wording that they're always using, she's always calling him Vision. Mm-hmm. Vision, the being.
Yeah.
He always calls him the Vision.
Right.
The property.
The weapon.
The weapon, the item. So we have the two ends of the spectrum here of how they view him. And throughout this whole scene, you see Hayward sort of trying to push her. He's trying to goad her. He's like, well, I can't let you just take him and bring him back to life.
Right. And she's confused by that. She's
Right.
like, what? I can't do that.
Right. Nor do I want to do that.
But it's weird that he mentions that.
Yeah. He's like, hey, look. Oh, look down there. What are we doing? Okay.
He, like, what? We obviously hated him. Everybody watching the show hates him. But this is like showing like just another level of like, he's doing something on purpose. There is more to what he's doing than obviously what he's led on. Because like a dick, he shows her his dismantled body. Who would do that? That's like, he can't possibly be that disconnected from like common decency to be like, look at your dead love, your soulmate dismantled.
He is prodding her because he knows that Wanda, when pushed, if something bad happens, if something dramatic, if she sees loss, if she feels loss, she can't contain her powers.
I will give her credit, though. She did control them for the most part during this scene. Like he does continue to push her. She just takes a shortcut down to go see Vision because she has the right to do that. It's also weird that there's like guards with guns standing around these scientists while they dismantle. Like, I feel like he knew this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. It was like execute plan Wanda. It's places. Wanda's here, guys. Let's get to it. Like, she just happened to arrive there when they were pulling him apart and seeing his robotic flesh being strewn across the room.
Yeah, the timeline of this is always interesting. Like, how long was it from when all the stuff in Endgame happened and Vision dying to them getting the body?
I'll tell you what, she had time to get a dye job and a blowout.
Ooh, Wanda?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
She looked great. Full on auburn hair.
She
Glorious.
just came back from like a 5-year nap.
That's the thing that they don't tell you about when you come back from the blip is that you look fantastic.
So we see Wanda go down there and there's a line that she delivers that is pretty upsetting. And I realized it was a callback to one of the last lines that Vision said to her before he died. She says, "I can't feel you." When in Infinity War, whenever she's about to kill Vision, he tells her, "I can feel you." Okay, Vision's not in there.
Right.
Like, this is his body, but he's no longer in here, and there's no point.
And she leaves. I mean, cut back to Hayward lying, saying that she stole his body.
So Wanda's narrative, this is such an important part, and I can't stress that enough for the series, that Wanda's narrative is now solidified. Like, she has been telling the truth this entire time. Mm-hmm. She's a reliable narrator, and all of these other people working in the background have manipulated the truth and are trying to push her to do something that they want. And I can't stand it.
Using her grief to drive their plan for power.
Such fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I hate it. So Wanda leaves, gets in the only scarlet-colored car in the entire parking lot, and heads off to Westview, New Jersey. Because this memory doesn't end yet. We're still following her. We see she gets to Westview, and it's not the Westview that we're used to. Not even like the 2010s Westview that we saw. It's kind of like the colors and the way they did the filter in the scene. It's not bright, but not gloomy. It's just mediocre.
I mean, the town of Westview has seen better days. That's
right.
all I'm saying. I mean, even if you look at the welcome sign, it's run down, it's rusty, and that's kind of what the whole town feels like. Even as she's driving through, we see glimpses of some of our favorite neighbors,
Yeah, the town reminds me a little bit of Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
It doesn't seem bad. It's just not put together.
Yeah, but I also feel like they all look sad. You know, like Herb is crossing the street. We see Mrs. Hart kind of like forlornly sitting at a little cafe table.
We see Phil.
Phil.
He's putting up a learn piano.
Anybody want to learn piano?
Which is super sweet because back in the first 2 episodes, he is playing piano. So, I mean, at least he was doing something I liked.
Absolutely.
We also see the delivery guy.
Oh, that guy. But he's a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, he's a pizza delivery guy. But he moved on up in Wanda's Westview. He was a mailman.
And then he became like a UPS guy, too. He was good.
He got benefits.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Pizza place.
What we see is Wanda goes to an empty lot. And then as she gets there, she opens a deed. And Vision bought this plot of land for them to grow old in. On the little plot, there's a little hand-drawn heart. And it says, to grow in, V.
Like the heart on the calendar.
It's the heart on the calendar. Like, okay. When did he do this?
Also, okay, I have a question. No. So she says to Hayward, I'm like his next of kin. When did they get married? When did they have this commitment ceremony? Why wasn't I invited? What happened? Was it secret? Were the Avengers there? Was it just the two of them? Who was the witness?
Maybe when they were on the run, they could have easily gotten married. I will say, like, I don't care when he did it, to be honest. I'm just, just kind of pointing it out. He is like a supercomputer.
Yeah.
He could have easily just like did it electronically. You know what I mean?
Processing.
Like, I'm sure he still has access to Tony Stark's bank accounts.
Oh my God. I mean, he himself is worth $3 billion.
He just sells a finger.
Yeah. And then he just grows it back or something. I don't know.
The scene is super heartwarming, super sad.
Yeah.
Because we see that Vision had planned. He knows what she wants. He knows that she loves these sitcoms. She wants that American life, just a simple, normal life because she's never been able to have it. And he's like, you know what? This town seems fine. Maybe they were thinking like them being there, they could help the town.
Yeah.
Also, like it just doesn't seem like a bad town.
That's a fun series I'd watch. It's like Fixer Upper, but
rebuild the town.
Exactly.
Chip and Joanne, move aside.
Yeah.
We got Wanda and Vision.
Hi, we're Wanda and Vision, and we're here to make your town better. Welcome to WandaVision's Westview.
So as she's full of grief and everything and all builds up, it all releases. And this is where Wanda really also showcases her powers. Like just a few weeks ago, we saw her go hand to hand with Thanos. That was hot off the heels of him just killing Vision. And now all of that is finally sunk in, exploded, and she builds a house in like seconds. She also just changes all of Westview in seconds to the 1950s. And she also rebuilds Vision.
Again, with, the colors and what they represent. So obviously Scarlet is what's coming out of her. That's what rebuilds the town. But when Vision is coming out of her, it's the yellow of the Mind Stone. Yeah. So they're connected in so many ways. Obviously, like we said before, the Mind Stone gave her powers. The Mind Stone is what basically gave him the final jolt to be Vision. So it's like she's taken the Mind Stone that exists in her and is now given it over to recreate the love of her life.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. So I hope we get some answers. I'm not sure if it's like whatever residual Mind Stone was in her, she used that to make Vision, or her using her creative powers or whatever it is to literally create Vision out of nothing. It could go either way.
And I think, if it is the first one where it's like she's giving over her Mind Stone, this whole thing with Agatha is showing us it's the Mind Stone didn't give her the powers. She always had them. So by her taking the Mind Stone or whatever, that part of her magic out of her, it doesn't deplete who she is as a witch or someone that has magical tendencies.
It just unlocked it.
It just unlocked it.
Right.
So she can give that up to create Vision.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll find out, or maybe we'll just never find out. We always have to guess. I could see them doing that because there's one episode left and there's so many questions.
I cannot believe it.
So this brings us to the first few moments of WandaVision, where it started. We see Vision. He says, Wanda. She smiles at him. They sit on the couch and share a kiss.
Yeah. He says, welcome home. Should we stay in tonight?
Okay, Vision. You were just made. You don't need to be so heartwarming and sweet and make me cry.
And that's how they ended all the episodes.
Yep.
They'd always sit on the couch, watch some TV, and kiss.
So Agatha's finally satisfied.
We hear that lone clap from the audience.
Mm-hmm. An audience of one.
Taped live before a studio Agatha.
Very true. We see Wanda's like on the set of WandaVision. And outside of the set, we hear Billy and Tommy yelling for their mom. Mm-hmm. She goes outside, and we got full-on reveal of Agatha in her Agatha Harkness shawl and teased hair and purple.
Yeah, she is full on
Witch.
comic Agatha Witch, except for the gray bouffant. She does not have that, but
Yeah, I mean, she's old, but like she's like immortal old now, where it's like
Yeah.
she doesn't look like she's
like Hocus Pocus Witch old.
right. She just has to suck the lives out of people, and then she gets to like
It's that easy.
right. I was waiting for a commercial with that. So we see that she does have Billy and Tommy on these like very haphazard leashes,
Reigns, yeah.
magical, whatever. I mean, they could literally just step backwards or like duck, and then they would be out of it. But
Guys,
I'm not
don't
here to question
panic.
all that.
Just think. Just take a moment, a breather. Just duck down.
Right.
You're good.
But this is not good for anybody involved. This isn't good for the twins. Where's Vision at? Wanda's not happy about this. But we get in one of the most satisfying things in this entire episode also. Agatha tells her, "You have no idea how dangerous you are. You're supposed to be a myth, a being capable of spontaneous creation, and here you are using it to make breakfast for dinner." Which, there's nothing
Delicious.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
How dare you? She says, "This is chaos magic, Wanda, and that makes you the Scarlet Witch." She finally got her name dropped. Amazing that it was this character. It means so much to that character. And what does that mean?
Exactly. Right. So that's the whole thing, right? You think about the beginning of this episode. So there's dark magic, there's hex magic, there's her, Agatha, using magic that she's not supposed to. She knows the history of magic and witches, but the Scarlet Witch, if you're the Scarlet Witch, what does that mean? You're the chosen one? You're the Katniss Everdeen? What is happening? You're the one who can change the world, or are you dangerous? Huh?
Well, I mean, she does say that she's dangerous. It's just, I don't know how her magic works, but for her to specifically tell her, like, you're a being of spontaneous creation, meaning that you can literally just do anything you want. You can manipulate and create reality.
Which I think bodes well for the twins.
I mean, I don't know. Vision tried to go outside of the border and he got sucked back in. Is that going to happen with the twins? Because Vision was made by her
Right.
in the Hex. The twins were made by her in the Hex. So I don't know how that's going to...
All right. In order for everything to work out how I want it to work out, I'm going to say that she just made it so that Vision couldn't leave because she didn't want him to leave, because she wanted to keep him in Westview. Not that if you were created in Westview, you can't exist outside of Westview. That's just me wanting things to be fine. But it's Marvel, so that probably won't happen, but I'm just saying.
There's a mid-credit scene in this one. So the last two episodes, we got mid-credit scenes. And this one, of course, involves director Hayward.
So, here's Duty Face Hayward. Duty. And they're like, "It's ready, Hayward." They walk into this back room and he's like, "I thought we needed, something big to happen to make this work. But it turns out we just needed a little bit of its source energy." And there we see in some sort of capsule is the drone that Wanda took down that's still glowing red. They take the power. It goes into some sort of tube of some sort. And in the tube is White Vision?
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I know about White Vision is that in A Year in the Life, when he was White Vision, Scarlet Witch did not like him and she divorced him.
Yeah.
But what's the deal?
Okay. So I don't like this Vision. White Vision, his main story in the comics, I'm just going to base this off the comics because obviously this is what we know so far. So there was a comic called Vision Quest, which was written by John Burns, and it was a storyline in the West Avengers, which is kind of Scarlet Witch and the Vision, A Year in the Life takes place. So in this, Vision is kidnapped and dismantled by agents from all of these different government entities with the intention of reassembling him as a weapon they can use, which directly goes to how Hayward has been acting and how he talks about S.W.O.R.D. moving forward. The Avengers end up stopping the people that were dismantling Vision and retrieve his parts, but when Hank Pym, Ant-Man, puts him back together, he couldn't repair his synthezoid skin, so that's why he's white. And Wonder Man, if you listen to our very, very, very first episode in this, you know that Wonder Man, this character in Marvel Comics, they used his brain waves to give Vision his personality, his humanity. But this time around, Wonder Man had a say in donating his brain waves, and he was like, "No, thank you." So he didn't give that up. So when they activated Vision, he was ghost white and had no emotion. All of the humanity, the color, everything is just sucked out of him.
He's a weapon.
Right. He is literally a robot. He is no longer a person capable of even love or understanding. So he would just do orders, done him. That's it. So Vision stayed this way for quite a while. He's cold, aloof, eventually leading him and Wanda splitting up. He jumped around on different Avengers teams. He would stay this way for a couple years real time. So it wasn't even just like years in comics. It was like years in us reading it.
Ugh.
So it's pretty annoying when you have like, you know, red, green, and yellow awesome Vision. And then now we got this white, bland, emotionless, Wanda divorcing Vision. Not great. That's pretty much the gist of who this Vision is. It's not great. He's a weapon, especially in the hands of Hayward. I don't know how much he's going to be able to program him.
Mm-hmm. And I think what this scene sort of dictates, though, is that in that memory where we saw Wanda going to Sword, Hayward was pushing her. He wanted to have a blast of energy so she could reignite Vision so he could use him as a weapon again.
Mm-hmm.
He never got that, but he did still have that drone with her power flowing through it.
Right.
So this was his plan all along. So now we know his sort of MO, what he's trying to do, and unfortunately he did succeed.
Yeah, well, fuck him.
Poop face.
The questions that I guess still remain going forward is the biggest one, and I talk about in the Discord whenever we have our watch parties, is why that Pietro?
Mm.
Why Pete from the X-Men, the Fox X-Men universe?
Right. Is
Like-
it just a fun Easter egg for us as the audience?
Right. Or does Agatha know more? Or is this going to be like when the multiverse opens, it's going to be explained that he is actually Quicksilver, but from another universe? I need to know. I feel like there has to be more to it because it's such a weird choice to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
The next one would be, where the hell is Vision? Where's Monica?
Right. So that's what was so interesting. We had all these big reveals. We had all these people coming to help Wanda, right? So there's Monica, there's Darcy, there's Vision. They're all kind of making their way there. For what?
Right. I mean, we don't know what happened to Monica after Fiectro
Yeah.
got to her. Vision still casually flying his way over there, and I hope Darcy's not still stuck at that intersection.
There's an elephant walking across her. No, I'll never get. I also think, what's going to happen in this last episode, so much can happen. I'm thinking of like the sort of sitcom hijinks that can ensue. Oh no, there's white Vision. There's, red and green Vision. Oh no, are they going to switch? I'm the real Vision. Oh, I'm the real Vision. Fight your dad.
Yeah, but we're not having sitcom hijinks anymore.
I know, but I want it to be fun.
It's done.
All right, so everyone dies.
We also didn't even get like a please stand by on this one. Like, it's just like they're like, I don't like, so that's interesting. It's like the sitcom stuff just kind of.
Yeah, I think we're done broadcasting. We're done broadcasting. This is
sad.
no longer living in her box set of sitcom dreams. This is real life again, and shit's about to go down.
I don't like it.
Me either.
I'm not looking forward to Vision versus Wanda and the kids. And
where's
Agatha.
Darcy? Is she going to make it out? What's going to happen?
How dare you? Don't ever insinuate that
I
Darcy.
have to put that out in the universe, so I'm mentally prepared to be crushed.
Do that silently.
I'll do it right now.
All right. So next episode is the finale. Make sure you give us those questions. Send them in any way you can. Look out on social media for our posts about them. We'd love to hear from you. Give us your theories. We'd love to talk about it.
Yes, please. But before we go, we of course have to have our special segment. So, for another edition of Mystery Marvel. We are going to be hanging out with a superhero named Feral. So, this woman, I don't know. She's a lady beast of some sort.
It could be neither.
That's true. I don't know. But she has like some sort of Bride of Frankenstein hair happening. She's a golden, beautiful fur person with lovely purple outfit. Body.
I love that
con
description.
outfit. Yeah. And then when people see this, they'll be like, yeah, that makes total sense. So Feral has some power ratings. Her highest one is at a 4, and that's her strength.
Okay.
How about A?
Out of 7.
Yeah. Her real name, unrevealed. We'll never
Oh,
know. Yeah. Always
interesting.
just Feral. Group affiliation is X-Force, and her first appearance was in New Mutants number 100 in April 1991.
I did want to point out, if any listeners do know this character and their name was revealed later, this card was made like 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. This
Just so you
card
know.
was 1992.
Right.
I'm reading straight from the card.
Right.
This is the info they gave us in 92. So, turning away from the subterranean Morlock society that had nurtured her, Farrell returned to the surface world to join the superhero team X-Force in its continuing fight against prejudice and evil.
X4.
Which is delightful. I mean, what a great thing to fight. Though her fiery temper can sometimes make her difficult, Farrell's quick reflexes, amazing agility, heightened senses in a battle situation are always appreciated by her teammates, while her serpentine tail can usually be counted on to scratch that itch in the middle of Cable's back.
Gross. I don't, that's a really weird way to say that.
Isn't that so bizarre?
Is there a quote? Please tell me.
Of course there's a quote.
Well, okay, there was
the
like
92
two.
card. I've learned to pick ones with good quotes
Thank
for you
you.
because I know you love them.
Thank you.
Because you hate Mystery Marvels, but you love the quotes. All right, the quote is, "You play games with me, boys? You better play for keeps."
Oh, okay. Well, I will say I'm glad it's not like perfect, or you know what I mean? Like not like beast or cat punny. But also that was lame. That was really lame.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these quotes, they are very early 90s quotes. Like they might as well say like tubular or something on
Is she playing marbles? Is that what she means? Like play for keeps? I get to keep your marbles if I win? Like
Pogs. She's playing Pogs.
Oh God. Beyblades.
Yes, dueling blades.
Good God. All right. Well, I hope she's doing well and she gets to continue to scratch Cable's back.
That's nice. Do what you can for your friends.
All right.
Thanks for
see you guys
listening
next
to
week.
A Bite of.
Bye.
Artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite of. Bye.